Hello, this is TJ Evans with another episode of Untitled Discussion. Today on Untitled Discussion, I have with me Erich Quest.
How y'all doing?
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Good.
The city's on fire.
Yeah, true enough. We decided to get together since a lot of stuff has been happening, especially in this past week in these here United States of America. In the last couple of days, a man by the name of George Floyd lost his life to a police officer, Derek Chauvin. Either way, doesn't matter. The whole country has been upset about it. And honestly, if you're not upset about the tragic loss of life because of police incompetence, you're probably a terrible person.
Agreed.
So the country decided to protest in different cities. It started off in Minneapolis and it moved across the country from Atlanta to Portland. And these protests turned into riots. Not gonna lie, stuff has been on fire.
Yeah. America's burning.
Yeah,
Basically.
Figurative.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's on fire.
Okay, just making sure.
So yeah. So
the situation.
Okay.
Because everybody is in agreement that what happened to George Floyd was a tragedy.
Agreed.
But with the reaction from what happened from the protests turned into riots, the country is again separated. Is what they're doing, the protesters, is it right? Because you have some people, especially on the conservative side, say, I was with y'all for a moment until
you started burning stuff up.
Yeah, and then people on the left side, they believe that everything is justified.
I mean, well, the righteous part of things is the protest. The protesting is legitimate.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate argument. We have been saying this for years, not just 5 years, not just a couple of months ago. This is something that's an ongoing thing, and at some point, I feel like you can only ask, beg, and plead long until you finally get the point where, okay, since you're not going to give it to me, then I'm going to take it. So that's where the protesting comes in, and I see some of the rioting slightly justified, and I say slightly because I'm treading real lightly with the fact that in my city, the Atlanta that they're tearing up is not the Atlanta that we grew up in. It's people can't even afford to stay within the city. So you're talking about don't destroy my city. My city is no longer here. So that's a different story. You have people who are agitators running around after the actual protesters have left, generating violence. This has been proven now. You have pictures of police officers.
This is true.
That are masked up in black and going out destroying private property just to agitate the situation so that you have this violence. So what is creating or what is funding this? Because there's an agenda behind all of this at the end of the day.
And I've seen video and footage and evidence of people like law enforcement officers and people being bussed in from different cities and people who are Antifa members. I'm not going to say the name of the person who is funding them, but we got George Soros. I'm not going to say anything about it.
Yeah, we didn't mention that no more. Look him up.
But when it comes down to this specific situation, because this was based on the video that was shown. It was a black man under the knee of a white officer, and especially since a couple of weeks ago we got the news about Ahmaud Arbery. So the country was already on this racist narrative, and especially it being perpetuated in the news cycle, social media, mainstream media.
Agreed.
So I feel like
Agreed.
it was already at that tense moment. But the only thing that was different about this specific situation was, from any other situation, was this officer was actually arrested within the week. It was like 3 days.
And
Like, they were literally protesting while he was being arrested.
I mean, and that is a good thing to say and to do, the action wise of them actually taking action behind it. But the issue is not the court system on that case. The issue is the fact that this cop kneeled cavalierly on this man's neck, hand in pocket. And according to Anonymous, shout out to Anonymous for leaking all of that information, the Minneapolis Police Department has several cases of some situations like this where people have passed out from cops kneeling on their neck as a way to subdue them. And then you look at the backside of the footage, and then you have two other cops kneeling on this man, holding him down, who's not putting up a fight.
True enough.
At all.
I was waiting for a video because they said that he was a resisting arrest. I was like, well, maybe this can add on more to the story. But when you see earlier footage, he wasn't resisting at all. The situation was pretty much neutralized, and you had him in cuffs. So there was really no reason for you to even do the things that you did to this man. And there's no reason for him to be dead. That's why I feel like the whole country understands, again, if you're not a terrible racist individual, that
if you
he
don't
lost
value
his life
life,
for no reason.
If you have no value for life, the argument is that you have, and everybody wants to put a spin and say it's a racist thing, and I firmly believe that there are racist cops, which is why the KKK can march and nothing happens to them, because they're marching with their brothers. But that's a story for a different conversation. You have those racist cops, but the issue is more so the culture of the blue nation, so to speak. The culture of the police force as a whole. Now, mind you, this is coming from somebody who has a son that is a police officer. You do have those few who actually care about their neighborhood. You have those few who look out for people. I can't speak against all police officers because I have some that are very dear friends of mine, and they are appalled at this situation. But the culture of the Blue Nation as a whole is that they feel as though they're above the law, and what they say do goes. And they feel like they don't have to answer to courts because, a couple of days without pay and then I'm back on the force. Yeah. You know, once the story dies down, then I'm good. We never hear anything about this cop.
And that's why it's really interesting for his situation, for George Floyd's situation, and former officer Derek, is he was fired immediately.
Yeah, I mean, and shout out to
everybody. The police chief of that city knew exactly.
The police chief, just like from that situation, just like Keisha Bottoms, Mayor Lance Bottoms, when she fired the black cops, and I'm gonna say the black cops for snatching those young black kids out of the car. It's the culture of the police. I understand you're tired, but you got to do a job. But if I'm tired at my job, I still got to push through till it's time for me to clock out.
Yeah. Period.
That's your job. You signed up for it, and I'm proud, and I thank you for your service. But it's your job at the end of the day. You can't let the emotions, you have to separate yourself from the situation and not let your emotions take over. That's what makes you a police officer, to protect and serve. But if I'm not mistaken, that's not mandated by the Supreme Court. But anyway.
But that's the thing when especially in this situation and how the country is handling it, the racist narrative for the police officers. Because we've seen black cops do black people dirty and do white people dirty. We see we can't say that this situation or any other situation off top is racism. That's why I'm getting at. It's like either it's racism or just terrible policing.
It's terrible policing.
Like,
but it's when they say racism, understand that once people put on that blue uniform, put on that badge, some officers, and this is from personal encounters, some officers forget about the fact that they're black or white or Latino or Somalian or whatever the case may be. They forget about that, and all they see is they're blue because they've been trained that you're blue now. You're a police officer. You have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this. That's why you got these off-duty cops that are stepping out of line. I mean, like I said, this is nothing new. We heard stories about Tupac back in the 90s where he shot some off-duty cops in Atlanta because they was out of pocket on another black man. The reason why we speak about black people so much is because and this is on TikTok, it was hilarious. Dude says, when a white guy gets shot, when a white guy gets shot unnecessarily or dies in police custody due to violence, unnecessary force, or whatever the case, that cop gets fired.
Right.
Period. When a black guy gets shot by a cop, doesn't matter what color the cop is, oh, okay, it's just another day on the job. When a Mexican gets shot in the hood, it's just another day on the job.
Yeah.
I mean, the narrative becomes different when you're talking about the different races. That's why the black or the racist card is thrown right now. It's not that we're racist. It's a white cop. It's a cop, and they have a different mentality than when they view us. There's a charge, an unwritten charge in Cobb County. You can be driving while black, looking black, and you will get pulled over. Period.
I mean, some places have terrible systems like that. I can't even say systems, but terrible superior officers that train them like that. That's what I'm saying with policing, with bad policing, and how we know that some police officers treat white people and black people differently.
Yeah.
But is it because that the experience that they have? Because I can't say completely racist. I can't say racism, anything when it comes down to dealing with police, because police officers have a different job than the one that I have to deal with, because they have to interact with dangerous criminals every day and random people, and they don't know anybody. Like me, I see the same people at my job every day. Yeah. Police see different people at their job every day, like new people, and they go off of statistics. Like statistically speaking, they're gonna have more run-ins with black criminals than white criminals. It's a terrible fact of life, and again, we already did a discussion on that, how we can calm that down. Black fathers in the house, remember that. More black men in the home raising kids.
Yes, definitely. I mean, but I will say it's the lack of interactions that the police officers have. Yeah. With the community that they serve.
100% agree.
If you don't meet this little black kid that's out here playing, you don't meet the parents that's come out, that's bringing their kids to the park, if you aren't sitting there waiting for them when they get off the bus, not because you're expecting anything, but hey, I want to keep the kids safe. I know people drive down this street, accidents do happen. When you have those cops that don't interact in their community, they are out of touch with their community. And now everybody is a statistic. Simple. Yep. I look at this poor white guy with a little raggedy shirt, and he could be just coming from the gym, but this white guy looks a little bit disheveled. He gotta be on meth, hanging out in the black neighborhood. He could stay around the corner and just left the gym, just left work, but he's been typecast. If I see this black guy running down the street, he gotta be running from something. He must have robbed somebody.
Right. Because, yeah, that is true, because of the simple fact, because I wholeheartedly agree with that. I believe that's one of the major solutions, is the police interaction with the community, vice versa. The community have to interact with the police. Yeah. Know who's policing around you at what shifts or whatever like that. If you're running through my neighborhood, I want to know who you are.
Back in the 90s, we had this thing called Officer Friendly. The police came to the elementary school and met the kids. Hey, how you doing? Shook hands, kissed babies, all that good crap like they did the politician stuff back in the 90s. Yeah. Back in the 80s when I was in school. And we had situations growing up. I'm 43 right now, about to turn 44, God bless. I make the day because, Lord. Anyway,
a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on. 2020 ain't been no bitch. But I mean, realistically, when I knew the police officers in my neighborhood, and yeah, there were some bad cops. I'm not even gonna act like I was an angel. I wasn't. But there was also some bad cops there. We knew about this little crew that would come through called Red Dogs, and they come jump out on everybody, regardless if you doing something or not, and snatch you up, drop you on the head. Talk about police brutality. That was a Saturday night. I'm just saying.
It's not an urban legend.
I mean, real talk. So, but that being said, you knew the cops.
Yeah.
You knew the cars. You knew RoboCop when he hit the block. You knew just like the movie Colors. They knew Pac-Man when he came through.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know who was who, and they knew who was who.
They knew who was who. So it was not a big thing for Officer Friendly, so to speak, to jack somebody up on the side and tell them you better take your butt home before I tell your mama, because I'm running into it in the grocery store tonight. I know I am. I do it every Friday night. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing when the cop knew that this kid was going through all types of stuff in their life, and let me just look out for this kid.
And that's a major issue that we're going through. Like, it's just the simple fact that people don't know the police officers. And one thing I've been having a discussion about is, like how you said with your son, he's an officer now. So why don't more black boys become officers? And one thing is the relationships that black people have with officers, and
I mean, you
it's a
nobody
circle,
wants to be a cop now.
Yeah, it's a circle of negativity. But if you're from a certain area and you know your community already, why not be an officer?
I mean, and you have those kids who decide to do that, and shout out to you for being strong in your own neighborhoods, man. That's real king shit.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be a black cop in America.
I mean, but even in that situation, like I said, you got good cops, you got bad cops. That's that one good cop. Yeah. But his partner feels some kind of way, and then you got 3 other cops that feel some kind of way. Dude is outnumbered.
So what if in certain, that's what I'm saying, like what if in certain areas is vice versa? Like what if it's 3 good cops and 1 bad cop?
You don't have shit like this happen.
Or what if the bad what if the bad cop is actually the superior officer?
And that's where they have to get the nuts to go ahead and report their people. I mean, everybody wants to frown on whistleblowers and snitches, but at the end of the day, sometimes that's the only way you can get somebody out the block. If you want to do it the right way. I mean, there's other ways, but we don't encourage that.
Yeah, but like it's just I'm kind of reluctant to believe that the police system is racist. Like all police are racist. The majority.
I don't believe that.
I can't even think majority of the police. I can't even think half police is racist.
I don't believe that the police are racist. Don't get me wrong. I don't believe, but you have the infiltrations. You have the training. If you are shooting a target that looks like this little black kid, or you shooting a target that looks like a black man, or for military, if you're shooting a target that looks like an Afghan terrorist, that's what you assimilated to. So that's what you start to look at. You don't think about, I need to grab my taser. I need to grab my aspartame. I need to grab my pepper spray. No, I need to grab my bullet, and I need to grab my gun, and I need to aim for his head. I need to put him down and put him down permanently. Why are we such a threat? That's where the argument comes in. And when you're talking about police versus black people or police versus the society, why do you view us as a threat? You walk around with a gun, bro. I got mine now, but you walk around with a gun. You got a shotty in the trunk. You know.
Well, a couple of things. Like a couple of things can deal with. First of all, like I'm saying, is police training. Yeah, police training. And then second of all is the state of mind that police officer in. Like, who are you letting into the academy to become
what kind of background check?
Yeah, like to become a police officer. Like, are you letting in that man that was picked on in school and he got this whole like Napoleon complex or this whole like just one of those messed up. One of them. You know what I'm talking about?
Because it seems like that's the ones that's doing it.
Usually it is. So that's what I'm saying. And then you also have police training just dealing with real life situations. Like, is this officer does this officer know the law? Because lawyers got to go to school for what
here's where the
8
training
years
comes in at.
and then the cop only has to go to the academy for a few months. So I can't. It's kind of hard for me to actually believe that this police officer knows his full extent
of the law.
Like at least I want them to know the Georgia law, and then I want them to know
the city ordinances,
New York law. Like wherever you're policing at, just know what the law is for the area. And also, does this person have any experience dealing with people in a combative state? Like a police officer should be able to take down a perp without pulling out their gun.
Not to stop any military people from doing other things, but I think personally that some military people do not need to be police. I don't think that's a fair transition to the real world. Yeah. And I know that we do have a lot of military military people who are former military people who are police. Yeah. I think that is part of the issue. And not
except Marines, you're never not a Marine. You're always
a Marine. Except Lord, freaking sandflies or whatever the fuck they call them damn things in Paris Island. But anyway, I mean, it's that training. When you talk about training, they are taught to pull their gun first, and the question becomes, how much training do you put on de-escalating situations as opposed to neutralizing situations? Because there are two. Those are two different ways to diffuse a hostile environment. You can de-escalate it. You can talk them down. You can reason with them. Because at the end of the day, there's always a way pretty much to reason with most people in most situations.
Unless you had that one individual who was like, you know what?
I mean, and then you got those one that need to be knocked down.
And then you're a police officer and you want to make it back to your house too because you're...
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that. You have those situations where this person has to be because you've tried that part to de-escalate. Like there's videos that you see a white man wielding an axe or whatever, and he's swinging at the police talking about he's gonna kill him, and the police are still trying to de-escalate it. Where if I got a nail clip in my or a cell phone in my pocket and I reach for it, I got bullets in my back.
I mean, it depends.
I mean, so when you're talking about it, it still boils down to how the mental state, as you say, of that officer that you're dealing with. Like, what type of background check you doing on these people? Yeah. Like, I mean,
but then, what I'm saying is,
did you find out who they're hanging out with?
True enough, but then like that's still just one part because also it's just the simple fact that with 13% of this population in the United States of America, we make up 37% of the prison population. We commit 50% of the crimes in the United States of America. Most police officers have
reported crimes,
especially violent interactions with black people.
I mean, I'm not gonna say like I said before.
So as a human, that's what I'm saying. Like human wise, it's like yo.
But all black people are not violent. All black people are not criminals.
True.
All black people are. When was the last time you went and robbed a deli?
Never.
Okay, just check it. When was the last time you robbed a gas station? Never? Okay, just checking. So you don't fit none of the qualifications. You don't fit the bill. Do you think you look like an armed robber with a polo shirt on and a beanie?
No, not right now.
Not right now? Not right now? Okay. But you fit the description because you're black with dreads.
So what does a racist cop look like?
Right now, all of them blue.
Exactly. Now we're stereotyping everywhere.
Exactly. So you have to go.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Though.
I mean, but it damn sure make us even right now. Shit. But I mean, not to justify the actions and everything. I'm not really trying to justify the burning of my city because at the end of the day, I love Atlanta. I'm born and raised here. I love riding around my city at night. You know, I love seeing everybody interacting and having fun with each other. I love my Atlanta, but at the end of the day, you can only beg and plead for so long to be treated like humans, a God-given right, to be treated like a normal person, to be treated and viewed as a normal person, as opposed to being treated and viewed as an animal, as a thug, or whatever label that you want to put on me.
So is So that's another thing. That's another point I want to get to. Is the reason for the protest? Is the reason for the protest because of police brutality, or is it because of racism?
It's because of both, realistically. It starts out as police brutality.
Police brutality is a training issue on the most part.
Yeah, agreed. But it starts out as as a race issue. I mean, as a brutality issue. Because at the end of the day, we're tired of our young people dying. And personally, I don't care what color. I'm tired of people dying for no reason.
Because we
like
only make up a small percentage of the civilians.
I mean, like I said, I got people. I have friends that are black, white, Asian. My homeboy. I got homeboys from all over the world. I got homeboys that literally live now. Thank you, Ma. That's all over the world. Like, but at the end of the day, I want all my people to live. I don't have a hate for somebody who doesn't hate me.
Mm.
But yeah, if you feel some kind of way for me, I'm going to show you the love of God and try to work with you. But everybody passes off my God as this passive being, and He was nowhere near. Whether you're talking about Jesus or Most High, but that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation.
That's a whole nother one. That's a whole nother
one.
one.
Awful thing.
When I say if you're dealing with racism,
mm-hmm.
you can only deal with racism in today's world. Well, not today's world, because not even good. But in today's United States of America, on an individual prospect.
Yeah.
Because and then it's kind of hard to identify what a racist is or what racists look like without you kind of seeming like you're racist.
I mean, I kind of feel like we've been treated a certain way for so long we deserve an up, but that's my feelings.
But is that by everybody though? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, realistically, how I think about things in racism, and having family from Mississippi and Indiana and California and everywhere across the world, having family that travel and deal, and myself doing my travels, racism is a learned behavior, and at some point you got to stop teaching this ignorance. I mean, and you have people that literally live their entire lives without seeing a black person in face to face and have a view on a black person that you never met.
Because prejudice. Yeah. It's just but everyone has a type of prejudice. Everybody has prejudices. Everybody prejudges in some type of way, of fashion. But with those individuals, it's different because of the simple fact they're prejudging you by your race. And then they actually have a disdain for you. But that's a small amount.
But there's a saying that says that it's the smallest wagon. What is it? Empty wagon make a lot of noise.
Yeah, make a lot of noise.
It's typically
they
that.
do,
and it's always realistic. I mean, you can say it like this: it's always that one person that make all the noise to kick up all the dust. It's always that one person that brings the attention to a situation that's been here.
Same way it was those white people who started off the riots for George Floyd when they began as protests, but they were white people too. But that's a whole nother conversation, because that's when I started talking about white liberals. Nobody wants to have that conversation about how white liberals are a little bit more racist than any other white person in this country, but Malcolm X said it, not me. So, but if we're talking about actual racists, now everybody can have their prejudice, but racism is a deep-seated hatred on an individual level. Like, I feel that even when I deal with any issue, especially in America is the freest country that's actually out right now. Like, we're the freest on the block. Yeah, we're the freest on the block. We out right now. Okay. Yeah, we're the freest. But
when them new states drop, though, bro,
I'm telling you. But when you deal with situations like female pay and stuff like that, the right to vote and all that stuff, we got laws on the books for all that stuff like that.
I mean, but there's a lot of issues that still haven't been completely touched. Like, there are still, even with them being laws on the books, there are still people's mentalities that haven't changed. There are still corporations that don't pay women the price that they should get. So, I mean, from that to there are still people who feel like black people are above them and they are the ultimate race. I mean, hey, let's drive down to South Georgia and pay them a visit.
Whoever those individuals are that are underpaying women, we need to write those companies down on a list, and we need to address those people as following. Like, if we have individuals, even earlier this week, where the lady who was at Central Park in New York, who called the police, said, like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna call the police. Said African Americans bother me. She was fired from her job, and they took her dog.
Yeah, I saw that. That was hilarious. Shout out to Peter. You know what I'm saying?
But honestly, because decent people. Because I believe this country is made up of actual decent people.
But it's not the decent people. Okay,
there's
a saying that if you're not part of the problem, if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of decent people out here. But like I said before, it's always those few. Like, you know somebody that feels some type of way about black people, and you don't say anything about it. You let them have that.
But you want to know what my thing was, even with the situation that happened in Central Park? Because I found fault in him as well. Because it's like, dude, mind your business.
Yeah, I get it.
This is a mind your business.
But
if you ain't got nothing, mind your business.
That can go in so many different ways because so many different people don't feel like their business is their business, and then their job and their business is everybody's business. Like the little dude who lost his business and his job, his membership to the gym, because he was trying to harass some little black folk that was trying to work out.
He wasn't minding. You remember?
He wasn't minding his business.
He wasn't minding his business in the first place.
I mean, if they learned to mind their business on that instance, then that would cut down a lot of stuff.
America is
because what black people do a lot of is mind our own motherfucking business. That shit does not concern me over there.
We like, even in the Constitution and even with the Bible standpoint, because the Constitution was made for a Judeo-Christian country.
Yes.
The sovereignty of the individual.
Okay.
That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a racist society. It's a racist individual. It's not leaders of the black community. It's just a couple of Negroes who think they can talk for black people. It's not even a full black community. It's like, yo, I feel this way, you feel this way.
I mean, because
we have a different mind.
Where you got 30 people down there protesting, you got another million people running around the city just chilling.
But the issue, that I feel with the whole racism, and even I still don't want to talk about the white liberal, but I'm gonna talk about the white liberal anyway.
Just slide them in there.
They're the ones who say, the black leader or the black community. I mean, but name the white leader.
I mean, at the end of the day, they love to put labels.
Who's the Mexican leader?
Who's the Mexican leader?
Who's the white leader?
It's the AOC. What's the lady? What's the little Latin girl that's up there?
AOC?
Yeah, AOC.
She's the Mexican leader?
I guess that's who the Mexican
Puerto
leader
Rican.
is. I mean, but Trump groups everybody together.
I group everybody in together.
That's because you're special anyway.
No, that's because I'm actually racist.
We know this. Yes,
but
this is an internal conversation, but yeah, he's racist. It's horrible. But anyway.
But what I'm saying is, it's the simple fact that people don't understand that individuals can be bad.
Yes.
No man is good. It tells us that in the Bible. No man is good. No man is righteous. No, like, you're not that. You can either be good or bad. No matter what color you are, it's your mind frame. We do not war against flesh and blood, but against principalities. What's your thought process, what you believe in, and everything like.
Agree.
But
scripturally speaking, most definitely.
But I can't believe, especially in this country today, because with the narrative that they're pushing is, especially with they're hunting black boys, they're hunting black men. But if they were hunting black men, what black man was shot yesterday by the cops? The day before,
Well,
the day before that, the day before that,
was
because this country is too big. It's 330 million people.
The unwritten and unpublished things are also knowledge that people have that support that. When you have people who are protesters that are coming up missing now, coming up dead for one reason or another.
Happens
The
all
stuff
the time.
the stuff that isn't.
I'm not gonna say it was George Soros,
publicized.
but it was probably George Soros.
the people who
I don't like George Soros.
I can tell.
Okay, keep going.
I can tell. But when you have these people who are seeking out these black protesters to quiet them, and it's not being publicized, it is a hunt on people who are trying to make change, because there are a lot of people who don't want change, and then there is a hunt on general black people. I mean, black men. I honestly feel like we are targeted. We have to do everything 10 times better just to be held in a different standard as how you view everybody else. Because, you know, one of the things that used to aggravate me growing up was that, hey, I've never met a black guy like you. You're different. No, I got a whole group of friends and a nephew and kids that are just like me. And I know some other people across the world that are just like me.
Individuals,
true. But, you know, you're different. No, I'm just me. But so, there's a narrative written behind us that says that you are based on what's been publicized about the criminal nature that they want to say. Mind you, we ain't steal the whole country, but anyway. Besides the criminal nature of people, you know, we don't have whole little festivals of people dying, you know. Shout out to Rome. I mean, of violence, you know, we don't have that because, you know, we taught people how to eat and how to survive in this harsh lands when you came to visit us and you turned your fucking backs. But that's a different story. We really just, we're presented as something different. We are the type of people, even in the movies, we're the type of people that literally love to have fun. We like to enjoy. We have, you know, we enjoy life. Until you created a monster that didn't love themselves, black people were fine. But you started pumping in this thing called media, started pumping self-hate into kids who grew up to adults who hated themselves, and then you took out a father who could groom this child to love themselves.
This is the same media, though. This is the same media.
It's legitly a domino effect.
This is the same media that's feeding us this steady news stream on social media and mainstream media of racism.
I'm not gonna say that the media is the total issue, because there are some good reporters and there are some good media outlets out there. But what I will say
they feed us information.
There is an agenda somewhere with some group. There is an agenda. And at the end of the day, it was bound to happen.
True enough.
I mean, like I said before, and like I said at the beginning of the conversation, I mean, realistically, people will only take so much. You know, my mama used to say it was always the straw that broke the camel's back. That's why you got your butt beat. You know what I'm saying? Because she could only take so much. I'm only going to talk to my boys so many times before words become action. Martin Luther King said that he felt like he was leading his people into a burning house.
Yeah, that's why he started buying guns.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I understand that we got to have this conversation. But at the end of the day, I laugh at the situation. Only because, like I told you before, it was bound to happen. It was going to be the straw that broke this camel's back. And yeah, like you said, he got arrested in record time. But the point that it had to happen is the issue. Why? and so cavalier. You didn't even act like you was concerned. You chilling there with your hands in your pocket.
You can't do anything about the individual. Individual people can be bad, but we can't put the issues of one man on the whole group. Mm-hmm. One man's wrong. Like, I know people like to say one bad apple spoils the whole bunch, but I can't think like that because they're just too terrible. Because I'd be scared if my guy believed the same thing. But let me close this up because I feel like we're going.
It's gonna go forever. It's
so
gonna
like,
go.
I'm gonna do
this all day.
I'm gonna do an extended version on this, but thank you for joining us on Untitled Discussion. I'm your host TJ Evans with Eric's Quest.
Peace.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all, man. Subscribe to the page. Please like this video. Royal Family Studios. We out. Peace.
Watch out for white liberals.
Yeah. Straight up.